Hello everyone, and welcome to One Man Stream. In our last episode, we created the graphic that you see right here to your left, and we created this step-by-step in GT Title Designer, and I kind of ran out of time in that last tutorial, and I said in our next tutorial I'll show you how to do the color change effect to these blocks that we created, and also I'll show you how to bring data into this graphic. So what we're going to cover today is actually 3 different ways to display data in this graphic. And the first way we're going to do it is through the vMix title editor, and it's probably the most straightforward, but it takes a little bit of time to do it that way. The second way we're going to do it is by using vMix UTC and Bar Delimited Data. And then the third way that we're going to do it is we're going to do it using an Excel spreadsheet. And I'll show you how to bring the spreadsheet into our vMix production, and then I'll show you how to manipulate the data in that spreadsheet to get it to display in the graphics. So we're going to have that and so much more for you on today's episode of One Man Stream. We're going to begin this tutorial today showing you the graphic that we created last week in vMix Title Editor. The way that we're going to do this is I brought it up in preview, and I'm just going to right click and then I'm going to click on Title Editor, and you can see all the information that we can manipulate within this graphic that we created. This is all the text portions that we can change, and this is all the images that we can change. And then this right here are the colors that we can change. So that's what we're going to tackle first, how to change the colors within this graphic. So we can change each one of these color blocks here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 color blocks. Then we can also change this vertical separator right here. And then we can also change the background color of the versus box here. So the easiest way to do that is we would just go in here and we would change the hexadecimal color code. So let's go ahead and do that. Right now it reflects red for all these, and as I click through you can see right here where it's showing red. So what we're going to do is we're going to change this to blue. So the hexadecimal color or code for blue is we just switch the F's from the beginning to the end, and you can see where Lou Lewis turned to blue. What we're going to do is we're going to copy this, and then we're going to paste it under player 8 color rectangle, player 6 color rectangle, player 4 color rectangle, player 2 color rectangle, and this is the vertical divider we were talking about. No, wait a second. This is visiting a background. So that's this right here, and it's going to change that as well. And you can see where that changed. And then this one here is the vertical divider. And I'll go ahead and bring that graphic in now so you can see it a little bit better. And you can see where all the fields that were originally red are now blue. Well, what if we wanted to do this in one click? Well, it's entirely possible to do in one click. We would have to map the hexadecimal color to a field in an Excel spreadsheet, and then we'd have to map that field to all of these rectangles and then to the vertical divider. And that is something that we can certainly do. So let's go ahead and I'll show you how we're going to do that. So this is the Excel spreadsheet that we created for this demonstration. And you can see here I brought in a few of the colors that I use most often, and then I also brought in their accompanying hexadecimal codes as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a drop-down list from these colors, and then we're going to use vlookup rather quickly and bring in the corresponding hexadecimal color, and then we're going to map it to a specific area of this Excel spreadsheet. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to click in this box here. Then we're going to go up under data. We're going to click on data validation, and we're going to select list. Well, the next thing we have to do is we have to select our source or our range. So we're going to click in here, and then we're going to click this first color right here, hold down our shift key and click this last color, and then click OK. And now we have a drop-down list that has all these colors in it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to use vlookup to bring in the corresponding hexadecimal color. So what we're going to do is we're going to click in right here and we're going to click equals, and then we're going to start typing vlookup. And the first thing that we want is our search term. Our search term is going to be right here, so we're going to click in this box, and then our separator is going to be a comma. So we're going to click comma. And our next part is going to be a table array. So our table array is going to be from A2, and hold down the shift key, down here to B21. So then we need to have another separator, and that separator is a comma. And then we need to know where we are looking for this data. Well, this is column 1 and this is column 2. So our data is going to be in column 2, comma, and then we're going to type in false for exact match and click enter. So now when I select a color here, it's going to bring in the corresponding hexadecimal color. So let's change it to blue, and it's going to bring in the hexadecimal color for blue. Let's go ahead and shift those colors over. So now when I select purple, you're going to be able to see the hexadecimal color for purple. So this is going to be the really easy part. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click on the top row. I'm going to type in hexadecimal color. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to click this box under where it says hexadecimal color. I'm going to click the equals, and then I'm going to select this right here and hit enter. And you can see where it brought that up here. So now every time that I change this color, it's going to change it up here as well. And this is what we're going to map into our graphic. So now what we have to do is we have to bring this data sheet, this Excel spreadsheet that we just created, into our graphic. So down here in the bottom right hand corner, you're going to see the hamburger menu, and right now the hamburger menu is grayed out. But what we're going to do is we're going to click on that hamburger menu, we're going to go to Data Source Manager, and we're going to bring in this Excel spreadsheet. And I've titled this spreadsheet Color Change Demo. So we're going to click on the plus, we're going to come here to where it says Excel CSV, then we're going to click on Browse, and I save this on my thumb drive, and I'm going to click on the one that says Color Change Demo and click OK. I'm also going to click on here where it says Use First Row as Column Names and click OK. Now, you can, if I hit this drop-down menu here, you can see the different tabs. The tabs that we're going to work with right now, this one is called Colors, so we're going to click on Color. If you look over here to the right, you can see where we have hexadecimal color. And this is where the check first row as column names comes in, because on our spreadsheet we named that first row hexadecimal color, and then the color that we selected came in underneath of it. So this is the square that we are actually going to map to the graphic. Well, how do we do that? Well, that's the next thing we're going to cover. So let's bring our graphic into preview, and I'm going to right click and click on the title editor, and now we're going to go to color. And we're going to use this right here where it says Data Source. So let's click on Data Source. We're going to select our Colors tab. And then we're going to go to Hexadecimal Color. And you can see where it brings our hexadecimal color in. We're going to have to do this for each one of these. And you can see where that took a little bit of time. Every time we change the color of the graphic in our spreadsheet, it's going to change it in our graphic. So let's bring the spreadsheet back in. We can see right now that the color that we have selected is pink. This is the hexadecimal color for pink. It's displaying right here in our column that we mapped. So let's go ahead and change the color to red. And after I click Save, you can see where the graphic changed back to red. So let's go ahead and we're going to change it to something that we can see. Let's go ahead and change it to lime. We're going to come up here and click Save. You can see where lime comes up out of our drop-down menu and the hexadecimal color for lime is displayed. And then we go up here and you can see where the hexadecimal color for lime is displayed. And we'll go ahead and click Save. And you can see where that changes to line. You can see that this is going to be a very quick and easy way to change all the colors in that graphic. So let's put it back to what we had it originally. How are we going to bring the data into this graphic? Well, there's a lot of different ways that we can do that. And one way that I'm going to show you is Bar Delimited Data in vMix UTC. So let's go ahead and open up vMix UTC. And this is the vMix UTC interface. Normally, the first thing that you would have to do is you'd have to make sure that this is synced with your vMix production. And I've gone over this in other videos. So if you're not familiar with this, I would suggest that you would go to one of my previous videos on how to connect remotely to your vMix production. And we're going to come up here under Widget, and we're going to click on List, and we're going to just call this Player 1. First of all, what we're going to do is we're going to map it to our graphic. So we're going to click on this. And what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to map 3 separate parts. So the first thing we're going to have to map is we are going to map Player 1 number. And then we're going to select that same graphic again. And then we're going to select Player 1 name. And then we're going to select that graphic again. And we are going to select Player 1 position. Now, one thing we have to make sure when we're using Bar Delimited Data in this way, we have to make sure we have this box right here checked so that this is a table. So let's go ahead and we're going to click on this plus button here, 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and then that's going to bring us 4 data lines. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to put in 15, and then we're going to use our bar, because this is Bar Delimited Data, and then we're going to type in John Jones and put in our bar. And then we're going to put in left field. So that's our first line of data. Our second line of data is going to be number 9, Tom Thomas, then with our bar, and then third base. And then we'll put in one more bit of data, 99, bar, Bob Roberts, bar, designated hitter. Now we'll click OK. And so that we can see this a little bit better, you have these 2 arrows here, arrow up and arrow down. If we click on the arrow up, it's going to make this bigger so we can see it. So let's go ahead and bring our graphic back in. And we've got that in on overlay channel 3. And if we have things set up correctly, when I change the data here, it should change it up here where you see Player 1. So right now we have 15, John Jones left field. Let's see what happens when I click on this. You can see where it changes to number 9, Tom Thomas, third base for Player 1. And then we're going to click right here, and you can see where Player 1 changes to 99, Bob Roberts, DH. So let's go ahead and change it back to what we had originally. Now, with vMix UTC and using Bar Delimited Data, you see what's going to happen here. We would have to make one of these list widgets for each one of the players in order to change the information. Well, there's still an easier way to do this, and that is through using the Excel spreadsheet that we incorporated earlier. So let's go back to that. Here's our Excel spreadsheet, and let's click under Roster. And this is the roster that we created. And then Master is actually the sheet that we're going to use to map our graphics. So we click on Master and we have nothing on here, but I did a little setup for the demo and I have these set up right here. So what we're going to do again is we're going to use data validations. We're going to click right here in this box, A2, and then we're going to go to Data. Again, we're going to go to Data Validation. We're going to click on List. We're going to click in Source, and now we're going to go to Roster. And we're going to click on John Jones, hold down our Shift key, click on Kel Kelly, and then click OK. Now we should have a drop-down menu, and we do. It brought all those players in to this cell right here, A2. So now we're going to use vlookup for number and position. So what we're going to do is we're going to click in equals, and then we're going to start typing vlookup. And let's click on vlookup. And the first thing is going to be our search term, which is going to be here. So we click on that, and we're going to click comma. That's our separator. You can see the comma right there. And then the table array, which is actually our data source that we're going to be using, or where we're getting our data range is what I meant to say. So we're going to click on roster, and then we're going to click on John Jones, hold down our shift key, and click all the way over here to C15. So we have A2 to C15, and we're going to click comma, and then we're looking for number. So let's go back to our roster. Number is in column 2. This is column 1, column 2, and column 3. And as we've talked about before, when we're using vlookup, it starts with the search term and then reads left to right. And you can see that when I bring in this player, how the information changes. Now it goes and finds the player, it finds the player's number, and then it brings that information over here where I already have it formatted, and I'll show you how I do that in just a second. So the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and drag this over here, and you can see where it brings in the DH automatically. Now, one thing I want to do, because I want these to be absolute, I'm going to put dollar signs in here. So $2, going to come over here to roster, $A, $2. And then C15, we're going to do the same thing to that. So when I do this, it's going to make the ranges absolute. Now you can see what I did here is when I pulled this over, if you look right here, this says C15. And then I'm going to bring it over one more time. So when I bring this over now, that information is going to be the same. But what I'm going to have to do, since we're now looking for position, we'll go to roster, column 1, column 2, column 3, it's going to be in position 3. So let's go back to master. I'm going to change this to 3. And you can see where it brought in third base. We have 10 spots on the graphic, so I'm going to pull this down to where it's number 12. And that should give us 10 places. And then I'm going to click in here. Well, now that these are absolute, it's going to save our ranges. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this down. And I'm going to pull this. I'm going to go ahead and pull this down. And so now let's go ahead and put in our starting lineup. So I'm going to click here. We're going to go John Jones. Now I did have to backtrack. If I go back up here and I look at these VLOOKUP formulas that I created, I took the dollar signs out for the search term because I don't want the search term absolute. I want to be able to pull this information down, and when I pull the information down, I want it to be able to change. So we're going to select John Jones, and then I'm going to pull this down. So I have to go back and I have to make sure that I do not have these other formulas set up with an absolute value for the search term. So that one is not, I changed it, and position is not. So now I should be able to pull these down. Okay, now you can see the information is starting to change. So now for Tom Thomas, we have number 9, third base. The next player is going to be Rob Roberts, and that changes to 99, designated hitter. And then Cal Callens and Dave Davis. Cal Callens, Dave Davis, Doug Douglas and Sam Samuels, Hal Hall and Greg Gregory, and then Lou Lewis. And actually I created one too many spots, so we'll go ahead and get rid of that. So you can see what happens as we're making these selections. This information up here is changing as well. Let's look at John Jones. If I change John Jones to, say, Kel Kelly, you can see where all that information changes. So how did I format this information right here? Well, this is probably the easiest part on the spreadsheet. Now we're at player name 4. So what I do is I click equal into this. And then I come down here to player 4, which is Cal Callan, and I click on this. Enter, and it brings in Cal Callan. Then I'm going to click equal again. I'm going to come over here to number, click in that cell, click enter, it brings in the number. And then I'm going to click equal again, come over here to position, click in this cell, click enter, and you can see where it brought all this information in. So now what we're going to have to do in order to get this to display in the graphic, we're going to have to go back and we're going to have to format the graphic with the data source. Well, how do we do that? Well, that's very simple as well. So we need to go back to this look right here, and we're going to go ahead and bring the graphic back into preview again. So we're going to click on title editor. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to player 1 name. So we're going to click on player 1 name. We're going to go to data source. We're going to select the Excel CSV. We're going to select the master, and then we're going to come down here to where it says player 1 name and click OK. So now we're going to go to player 1 number, same thing, go back to data source. On the master sheet, player 1 number, click OK. Player 1 position, master sheet, player 1 position, click OK. Now we'll go to player 2 name, P2 name, P2 number, P2 position, player 3 name, player 3 number, player 3 position, and then the last one we're going to do is player 4. So we'll go player 4 name, player 4 number, and player 4 position. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the Excel spreadsheet back in. I'm going to put it right here, and let's go ahead and bring this graphic in. And I'm going to make some changes to the starting lineup. So let's bring in some substitutes. So we're going to bring in Steve Stevens for player 1. We're going to bring in Vic Victor. Bob Roberts, he's out. We're going to bring in Aaron Aarons, and Cal Callens has been underperforming. So we're going to bring in Cal Kelly. I realize these are all pictures, so you can see that nothing changed, but what I have to do is I have to click save. I have this set up locally on a Excel spreadsheet, so I have to click save for that information to be changed in the graphic. So I'm going to go ahead and click save right here. And you can see where I brought in Steve Stevens, Vic Victor, Aaron Aarons, and Cal Kelly. It takes a little bit of time to set this up, but once you have it set up, it's very simple. All you would have to do is go over here to where it says roster. All you'd have to do is copy and paste the information from whatever team you're doing your production on, put it in these fields just as these fields are formatted. That's important, just as these fields are formatted. And then when you come over here to master, and select it from the drop-down menu, it's going to pull in their number and position, and it's automatically going to bring that information into your graphic because you already have it mapped. So it takes a little bit of time the first time, but then after that, it makes it so simple. That's going to conclude our tutorial for today, where we talked about 3 ways of bringing data into your graphic. We showed you how to change the background color on the graphic that we created last week, and just to demonstrate one more time, we're going to change this to purple. And you can see how all these graphic elements change to purple with just one click. And then we went on to show you Bar Delimited Data and how to bring an Excel spreadsheet into your vMix production and how to map your graphic to that Excel spreadsheet. If you like what we're doing here at One Man Stream, please give us a thumbs up and a like. Make sure you do subscribe so you'll be alerted as soon as new videos are posted. This has been episode 99, 3 ways to display data in your graphic. If you get a chance to stop by our website, that is onemanstream.com. That's where we have the graphics that we've created during this tutorial series, along with many of the vMix UTC controllers as well. They're just a few dollars a piece, but it is a way that you can help support One Man Stream. As always, thank you so much.